WrestleMania is now officially in the history books. Now we can move forward with the annual retrospective of the WrestleMania matches. I am never talking about any of all the entire WrestleMania show because that would take too long and be too exhausting for me. But yeah, WrestleMania 35. Let's get right down to the main event of the evening. And basically the one theme that was consistent throughout Seth Rollins' match, Kofi Kingston's match, and Becky Lynch's match, the theme of whatever it takes. The main event was the first ever women's main event triple threat match featuring Ronda Rousey, Charlotte Flair, and Becky Lynch, who was pretty much the underdog in this situation because of how WWE likes to favor these two and all the reports that were coming out regarding what was going on with the match. So yeah, let's get right into it. And if it looks like I'm sweating a lot, it's because it's high, it's springtime here, and the humidity's not helping much, so yeah. Also, I'll be getting a haircut soon. Hopefully that helps. And I don't want to turn on my fan because that could interfere with my voice and recording. But yeah, so Becky Lynch comes out last. So what happened was Charlotte decides, in order to continue the trend and most likely make people further say that Charlotte's just coattailing off of her father, not just out of the last name, but they decide to do her own version of Ric Flair's Great American Bash arrival via helicopter. I believe this was 1985. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, but quote me if I'm right. But yeah, Charlotte gets Ric Flair's iconic helicopter entrance, and she makes her way to the arena as Ronda Rousey gets Joan Jett playing her theme song, and Becky Lynch just gets her standard The Man entrance. Come on, no special entrance for her? Boo! And Charlotte comes out, and it's just pure chaos after that, because after what happened on the final Raw before Mania, that should say something. So, yeah. There was a lot of stories going on into this matchup. Like betting odds were against Becky, thinking the plans were changing. And then you got reports coming in that Ronda had a say in how the match was going to end. Like, she wanted Charlotte to win, saying it was always the plan. And the other one was conflicting that Ronda refused to take the fall for Becky because she didn't like Becky for tweets. And I was like, and also because she doesn't want to lose her in the main event. And I was thinking to myself, let's say these are true. Ronda, UFC is completely different from WWE, and before I hear the term "it's faked," it's heavily scripted, and everything's all planned out. But you mean to tell me that seeing Pete Dunne smash people's fingers and the twisting and turning of limbs that we see in wrestling, that's all faked? I like AJ Styles got injured. Let's hope he recovers quickly. But yeah, during the show, and it didn't look like he did anything wrong. It looked well done, but no. But AJ Styles still got hurt. But I'm pretty sure that was faked. Well, right. In fact, even in this match, Ronda Rousey had gotten injured. She had a severe hand injury from her punches, so clearly she was trying a little too hard with throwing punches. And Becky decides to tweet on this because Becky loves to tweet about everything. But yeah, when you look at that, it's like, how do you keep saying this is faked? But yeah, UFC is a competitive 1-to-1 fight where the victor has to outlast the other. Whereas in WWE and professional wrestling in general, or sports entertainment by Vince, it's dependent on management, and if needed, it will be dependent on the talent if they have a certain clause in their contract. Hogan! So, yeah. The fact that, that's why I always said there's a difference between creative control and creative freedom. When there's creative control, the wrestlers basically Kevin Nash, Hulk Hogan, Triple H, The Click, Hogan, the NWO running wild, throughout their original first year before everything went to hell. Then you got Ric Flair being a booker. Then you got and him threatening to quit if they did the stupid route they did at they wanted to do at Starrcade all those years ago that I talked about in the Lex Luger video. Yeah. And then you also had to, and then there's creative freedom like The Miz, Bray Wyatt originally, CM Punk, where they all got to write their promos, submit to management and said, I want to say this, or they go ahead and give input on how their character's supposed to operate, because in their eyes, they're the only ones that know how their character works, not the people who write scripts and say, this is what you say, right? Oh, who cares? You don't have a say in this. So that was always my two differences with creative control and creative freedom, which is something that Kenny Omega wanted. He wanted the creative freedom, and Vince was unwilling to give it, and that led to WWE losing this shot at having AJ Styles versus Kenny Omega. Damn them. So, yeah. So, heading into this match, you had all these conflicting reports coming out that Becky was going to win. No, Charlotte's going to win because Ronda wants it to happen. Or Ronda doesn't want to lose because Ronda is too egotistical on this because she can't imagine herself losing even though she lost twice in UFC, went ahead and joined WWE, was undefeated for a year, and then goes ahead and goes through a phase when she lost in UFC, and that led to various questions and complications that I will not get into, other than the fact that I'm excited with Brock Lesnar here when he says, learn to lose, and I'm just thinking, stop making me agree with you, Lesnar. I don't like you. So, yeah. So, there was a lot of uncertainty, especially before the night was through. We had gotten Seth Rollins defeating Lesnar, which I'll cover, and Kofi Kingston winning, and you know this is WWE. They don't believe in having full-on fairy tale good endings, like a feel-good moment for everybody. Like, everyone came in heading into the show was thinking, like, 2 out of 3 of the championship matches were going to end with a happy ending, whereas not only one was going to end up losing. So everyone heading into this was more nervous out of obviousness, because you had these conflicting ideas going on. Like, is management going to go ahead with their version of the story, or are they going to give what the fans have been craving, what a majority of fans have been craving for, having Becky Lynch go on to win the match? And there is a problem with how the match went. One is the fact of how it ended, which I'll cover in a little bit. But the other problem was the crowd. I don't blame them whatsoever, because how can you make the crowd work the level that you wanted to when you tell them to sit there for nearly 9 hours, if you really count before the kickoff, because they have to come in, they have to pile in the audience, they have to find their seats, they have to get concessions, they have to go ahead and do all this, and then they're told to sit there for 8 hours, and 8 to 9 hours, and then go all out and don't go to the bathroom because you'll get lost in the sea of people and probably have people urinate themselves and whatnot in ways I cannot imagine. Like, I went to WrestleMania 29. That was like a 4-hour show, I believe, if you also add the kickoff. That was different, but the audience was dead at this point. So really, think about this. You want to know whose fault is this? It's not really Vince's fault, although you can't say it is. The actual fault in this is the WWE Network itself. The very idea of it existing is what's causing this huge situation, because back then, WWE did what everyone said what they should do. Just stick to a regular big pay-per-view event. Like the B-level pay-per-views get 3 hours, and the high-level A pay-per-views or special event pay-per-views a 4-hour moniker. But when the WWE Network happened, pay-per-view bonuses were dwindling. There was no more pay-per-view distribution going on as much. A lot of pay-per-view networks dropped out because they said, we don't want to work with you guys because you have your own network. So it led to more issues on that. And now the wrestlers are like, well, I'm not going to get a pay-per-view bonus as I used to get, and merchandise sales are down for me. So really, they had to make it up on the grounds of, oh, well, we'll just throw everybody on the card. And that kind of devalues WrestleMania as a whole, because if you're devaluing, because to me, WrestleMania is that place where you put all the best storylines, all your best talent, all the best workers, all the most organically over talented people you got. And now it's more like a shove everyone on the card, shove everyone on the card, shove everyone on the card. Make it 8 hours if we have to. And that creates a huge conundrum because now you have fans that are told to sit there, watch a whole bunch of filler for a while, get to the good stuff, but then they still have to stay there in the middle of the night and work, and then they have to work tomorrow, the next day, and that leads to this whole issue of, well, how am I supposed to get to sleep? But yeah, so that was a major factor to this match low being not as big as it could have been if the audience was more alive had WWE just stuck to a more 4-hour pay-per-view event. Like NXT's doing what WWE used to do before the network, and you don't see them stuffing all their talent in. They just take a 2-hour and 30-minute venue, extend it from their 1-hour event, and boom, you got magic going on. And you have it at right timing. So, yeah. So, let's get into the match in general. This match was... Okay, here's the best way to describe it. It was like... It was trying its hardest to be also technical with how these three are submission specialists in their craft. Ronda and Charlotte being the best at submissions, while Becky's known for the armbar maneuver. And maybe Becky has more moves, I don't know. Like, you know, WWE likes to restrict people because if they stand out too much, then they're not going to get their favorites on board. So, yeah. But then and then you get some big moments like Charlotte, like Ronda tried to do a double armbar only to get powerbombed, and the image just popped up. She's trying to do a double armbar, and they just power out of it with a powerbomb together with a double powerbomb. And then you get Charlotte spearing both of them at the same time. That was fun. You get Becky Lynch just doing what she wants. And then you got Ronda Rousey trying her hardest to make sure she's hated by saying the B word a lot. Like throwing it out there. Like even the most paranoid lunatic would be like, oh God, just stop saying the B word. Why are you saying the B word so much? So that was hilarious. I don't see how that worked. I don't see how that worked. Like if the fans were allowed to be more alive at this point, if they were able to be alive, I'm pretty sure we would have gotten a much bigger reaction than we did. And then we get Becky Lynch applying the disarmor on top of the turnbuckle on Ronda, and then we get a huge Beck-sploder off the top rope, and that was fun. And then we go ahead and get Charlotte to try and do a double natural selection, though that kind of screwed up when the mistiming happened, and Becky had to try and make up for it. So, yeah. This match lasted for a little over 20 minutes, and this match would end in a very debating fashion. You see, what happened was Charlotte was going for another spear against Becky to send them into a table. However, Ronda and Becky flew her over and threw her into the table, but it only partially broke. And then they go ahead and toss her out of the ring. Then Ronda goes for the Piper's Pit, but then Becky does a cradle crucifix pinfall, and all of a sudden you notice Ronda's arm is up a bit, and then the referee counts to 3, leading to Becky getting the victory, shockingly to everyone, defeating Ronda out of it, pinning Ronda clean. But then that led to everyone scratching their heads like they were happy. A lot of people were happy, but they were scratching their heads like, was that supposed to happen? And then after the show, you start hearing all these stories coming out that Charlotte was supposed to tap out to Becky. The match was supposed to last longer. Ronda broke her hand. Ronda wasn't supposed to take the fall. Ronda was upset, was mad, was trying to shake it off. And yeah, it was mixed bag on that part. Like, it was turning into this great match that was coming. It would have helped more if the audience was more, invested, but I don't blame them because they were wanting to go to bed at this time, so I can blame Vince for that. So, yeah. Becky pins Ronda, but yeah, this led to more of a head scratcher because of the way it went down. And then a report came out that Ronda was supposed to lose. She was supposed to drop it to Becky. But then there's a report that disputes that. Like, insider sources were saying, like, oh, no. Charlotte was supposed to tap out. Ronda didn't want to take the fall, and they did it. The referee kind of did a count that should not have happened. Or Ronda was trying to kick out, but they failed in time, probably because of Ronda's hand injury she got. Like, she was trying to work through the pain, so I'll respect that. But, yeah, that was really questioning everybody. Like, why did it, like, I honestly was thinking they were going to go till 1 in the morning at this point because they love to go overtime. Like, I still remember a few WrestleManias ago, they went, like, over 30 minutes, I think, for Triple H and Roman Reigns' main event, which should say something. So, yeah, that led to everyone wondering what was going on. Everyone was ecstatic for Ronda and Charlotte to not win their match. Like, Ronda was already hinting that she was leaving WWE, and now with the hand injury, she's going to be out for the rest of the year, I was hearing. But Ronda was already planning to leave for a bit and go on a hiatus. And then there was another report that came out that said that Ronda was supposed to do that finish the way it went, that weird botch they did. And they were going to go ahead and build a year-long storyline to build up to Ronda versus Becky, which leads to the question, why didn't they just do that this year? But, and the people will say, well, then the crowd would have been dead at this point. Well, it's going to be dead again next year, so unless Vince changes his mind about the timing, then I don't see that working out. And plus, it also gives me worry that we're not going to get my dream match of Kairi Sane, Io Shirai, and Asuka for the women's championship, because that's the only main event I'll accept at this point right now. So, back to this match. So, Charlotte once again demonstrates why she's one of the best in the industry right now, but Becky right now is the one that has the most attention to her because of her underdog storyline and really her personal life, whereas Charlotte was born into a powerful wrestling dynasty. Becky Lynch virtually came from nothing. Ronda was already established for a decade or so, for nearly 2 decades. So, yeah. So, like, Ronda was a household name. Charlotte was an established family member, while also didn't want to get into wrestling from what I heard, but was honoring her late brother who had died for circumstances I will not get into, but I will say that Paige brought it up in their feud, and that was possibly the most dumbest idea they ever did. And I will also say that WWE had the balls to say this. It wasn't our fault that that was said. You see, it was Charlotte's idea. Yeah, it was Charlotte's idea. We have no control over that. It's not like we could have told her no, that's a dumb idea, or we probably could have forced her to say no and say that was a dumb idea, or we just really maybe we're just trying to do damage control and we don't want to admit that we were kind of tasteless in this. So, yeah, this... Yikes. Just yikes. But, yeah, I felt like the right winner won. The match could have probably been better at the end. And I was agreeing that the person that lost should have been Ronda, because the storyline was beginning with her and Ronda, and then Charlotte just added to the third wheel. But, yeah, it felt right for me, at least, that Becky Lynch won and Ronda was the one that took the fall. I'm just hoping Ronda doesn't go into her state that she went in after 2015 happened, after WrestleMania 31. We all know how that turned out. So, yeah, those were my thoughts on the first ever women's main event of WrestleMania triple threat match for both the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championships. This was Neo Reality Entertainment. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and donate to 2 for more.